Back in April, we talked about Hidden Road, right? The acquisition of Ripple for $1.25 billion. This was a huge acquisition, but I said back in April, and I'll say it again, this is much bigger than we think. We have numbers in front of us, right? $3 trillion per year, 300 plus top financial institutions globally. This is great, right? And we already know that this is the capital and activity that will tap into XRP, and the XRP ledger's bread and butter. This is exactly what Brad Garlinghouse did say. Now, why do I think that this is much bigger? Well, it's because of what's been happening around Hidden Road. And it's kind of funny because it's called Hidden Road, and a lot of these moves have been pretty much hidden, right? They've been undercover, and you really have to dig deep to find some of these moves that Hidden Road has been making. And this is huge for Ripple because it is a acquired company. This reminds me significantly of Medico, right? When Medico got announced, it was a big deal. We talked about it. There was a lot of banks tied to Medico. But what was happening from the announcement of the acquisition of Medico from Ripple to, the actual closing time, we saw more and more announcements around Medico tapping into big banks, and that was a big deal. The same thing is happening now with Hidden Road, and we have to talk about this. So let's first address the elephant in the room, right? Which is the fact that they did acquire Hidden Road for $1.25 billion. It clears $3 trillion per year. It serves over 300 institutional clients. And Ripple plans to leverage the deal to scale its RLUSD stablecoin used by Hidden Road as collateral and integrate post-trade activity into the XRP ledger and Ripple payments. Big shout out to Smoke Dog for this. Yeah, so the post-trade activity is going to be immediately tapped into the XRP ledger and Ripple payments. This is a big deal, right? Because not only are they scaling RLUSD, which you might say, all right, well, this is good for RLUSD, but not XRP. Guys, the stablecoin, volume and value tied to it, impacts the underlying network it's issued out on. The XRP ledger will see a large portion of this activity. So again, big deal. Let's talk a little bit more about why it's much bigger than we think. Number one, why would this acquisition from a crypto company be on the radar of a Goldman Sachs executive? This is a good question. Big shout out to Subjective Views for this. This is on the radar of every single major institutional player because of what markets are being tapped in. I talked about the FX market. Derivatives are being tapped in here. There's so much happening around Hidden Road. It's truly hidden, right? But it's very large. It's larger than the numbers that we're seeing. I don't really care about the $3 trillion per year. I don't really care about the 300 institutional clients because it's much bigger than that. The amount that they're clearing and the amount of customers that they're serving, it's great. It gives us something to go off of initially, but we have to look at the other things that are happening around Hidden Road. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about it, but check this video clip out real quick.
We also have developed our own digital asset platform, something that we launched in 2022, recognizing that, there's a number of different players that have platforms. One of the things that philosophically we focused on day one was, look, we want to accelerate our understanding in how to develop a platform, but we also recognize to really make it properly decentralized, it needs to sit away from Goldman's balance sheet. And so we announced last November, one of the key focuses for us was divesting the platform. And we'll probably talk a little bit more about that, but big focus for us is really kind of just delivering that for next year. And then coming back to the kind of collateral mobility piece as well. So big focus on kind of intraday, which may or may not be that exciting for this audience, but for banks, that's huge. I mean, the amount that institutions borrow on an intraday basis is massive. And so this ability to create intraday kind of FX, intraday repo markets, which we've already started to see on a micro level, actually has a really profound commercial value proposition. Not only, is it cost effective, reduces risk, but it also allows you to redeploy your capital and liquidity across the firm to, other different parts of the business, be that crypto or wherever. So that's kind of the second part of the business. And I'd say the third part is what we call kind of classic banking. So we have invested in a number of different institutions within, the kind of digital asset crypto kind of ecosystem, predominantly around kind of blockchain infra. I would say, or public record. And so that for us, managing those and staying very close, they were all very strategically driven and really help us in terms of accelerating our own kind of vision, for this space. As we've all seen in the market, there's been a lot more, chatter around kind of the classic M&A advisory, potential kind of IPOs. And we've seen that recently with Kraken and NinjaTrader. We saw that obviously with Ripple and Hidden Road. And so we've just seen a lot more activity in that space as well. So very active.
So yeah, I mean, the fact that we are starting to make waves around TradFi, especially from the big players like Goldman Sachs, it proves that this acquisition is being highlighted and spotlighted pretty much everywhere. And the big players are noticing. But also, think about what happened from the time that it got announced going forward, right? Like, for an example, here we have from King Solomon, Hidden Road, recently acquired by Ripple, gains FINRA approval to operate as a broker-dealer. Hidden Road can now provide institutional clients with a suite of compliant prime brokerage, clearing, and financing services in fixed income assets. They have 300 institutional clients. This is a huge green light for those clients to tap in to, prime brokerage, clearing, and even financing services. Outside of this, Abu Dhabi, right? May 8th. This just happened recently. They secured an in-principle approval from ADGM. And we actually have a few things here around their licensing and where they're licensed out of. All of this is a very, very significant milestone, not only for their business, but also to expand their business. And this is going to provide them with that green light to offer services in a very compliant way, without worrying at all about compliance or regulatory, issues coming up. So this is very good to see. And this is just another big move that happened around Hidden Road. And then also, this one got spotlighted on May 29th. Ripple's Hidden Road launches OTC crypto swaps in the US, opening institutional access to cash-settled trades across major digital assets. This was on May 29th. So May 29th, May 8th, April 17th, and the acquisition itself happened on April 8th. Now, let's go over to this post here from Jungle Inc. We have Ripple just gave Wall Street its XRP backdoor. Hidden Road, Ripple's $1.25 billion acquisition, has launched OTC crypto swaps for US institutions. Quiet accumulation is now possible without moving the charts. Why this changes everything for XRP. These swaps are cash settled. No coins move on chain, but financial exposure is real. The kind institutions love. Assets aren't named yet, but let's be honest, Ripple owns the broker. XRP is next. You weren't supposed to notice that. Hidden Road operates through a UK regulated entity, dodging SEC bottlenecks while onboarding US capital. Smooth, silent, surgical. This isn't just about swaps. Ripple is laying financial rails. Mika licensed in Europe, FINRA licensed in the US. Full stack play. If XRP gets added, expect price movement after positions are already built. That's the power of infrastructure. It front runs retail. This is the quiet part before the loud part. Retail trades trends, institutions trade access, and Ripple just handed them the keys. And yeah, this is a big deal, right? This is why I'm telling you guys, this acquisition was extremely strategic. It's much bigger than what we are being told or even being led on to believe. And you have to watch these, very, very quiet moves being made. A lot of people are going to just look at these moves and say, all right, yeah, that's, big for Ripple, but what about XRP? All of this has XRP at the center point. Remember, XRP and the XRPL are tapped in heavily around Hidden Road. Even, when it comes to Medico, that's just custody. Custody enables everything else to happen, which involves XRP and the XRPL. Now, we also have Zodiac Custody and Hidden Road collaborate on off-exchange settlement solution. Zodiac Custody should be a common name. If it's not, it's okay. But this is that, custodian that was created by Standard Chartered. It's a leading institution first digital asset custodian by Standard Chartered in association with Northern Trust and SBI Holdings, and is today announcing its collaboration with Hidden Road partners the global credit network for institutions to provide secure access to digital assets for institutions. As a result of the partnership, institutional clients will be able to access both prime brokerage and custody services from a single secure provider via Zodia Custody's interchange solution, with prime brokerage provided by Hidden Road. Interchange provides independent, effective safeguarding of digital assets while also reducing the counterparty risk exposure for Hidden Road's clients. This means the clients will retain full control of their assets while ensuring greater protection through settlement obligations. This is huge. Now, we have down here a few quotes. So, number one, this work with Hidden Road is a crucial milestone towards building the market infrastructure institutions need to enter digital assets at scale, while maintaining the rigorous standards of security, regulation, and compliance. Guys, this is the CEO of Zodia Custody, which is a custodian, a digital asset custodian created by Standard Chartered, one of the biggest players out there in TradFi. And it's an association with Northern Trust and SBI Holdings. And by the way, remember that Standard Chartered was one of the first investors into Ripple back in like 2016. This is huge. We are starting to see those floodgates opening for institutions to enter at scale. Partnering with Hidden Road means institutional investors are now able to leverage interchange alongside the expertise of a like-minded provider offering prime brokerage to gain a greater exposure to the many opportunities digital assets present in a safe and secure way. Hidden Road remains committed to providing our clients with a range of tools, partners, and integrations to support trading across traditional and digital assets. We also have a sound regulatory framework is what institutions need most when it comes to trading digital assets, and bringing together our two FCA regulated offerings will support the maturation of market structure in digital assets. Hidden Road's collaboration with Zodia Custody adds value to our credit network as we share a focus on security, compliance, and risk management. This is all based around institutional plays at scale. They want access to digital assets at scale. They want to tap in. They want to bring institutional DeFi into reality. And this is all through the underlying networks like the XRP ledger. Why do we know this? Well, it's because for the last 12 or 24 months now, everyone from Ripple, David Schwartz, Brad Garlinghouse, Monica Long, even, the other players like Reese Merrick, for an example, or James Wallace, they've been telling us, guess what? Institutional DeFi will live on the XRP ledger. We're tapping in and we're focused on that at scale. This is crucial. And last but not least, two major posts from Matthew Lin Y. Here we have from June 2nd, Hidden Road with Ripple will scale more transactions on the XRP ledger. Trading Technologies has access to over 100 global exchanges. As tokenized assets increase post-settlement and eventually front and back end transactions will be XRP enabled. Check this out. Here we have, back in June of 2024, Trading Technologies partners with Hidden Road. If we go and look at the numbers here we have handling over 2.8 billion transactions in 2024 alone. The TT platform connects to more than 100 exchanges and liquidity venues across a growing number of asset classes. This is huge. This is extremely huge. And by the way, they are offering these services to the world's leading sell-side institutions, buy-side firms, and exchanges. So when we think about the numbers that are tapped in with Hidden Road, this is why I said, Medico in the beginning of this video, because we knew that Medico had a ton of banks under its belt, but that's exactly why these acquisitions are so valuable. Hidden Road not just has $3 trillion per year and 300 institutional clients. It also has partnerships like this that, bring 2.8 billion transactions with them and access to 100 plus exchanges and liquidity venues across a growing number of asset classes. So this is huge. It's so much ammunition. And, when we think about this, think about the scale, think about the volume, the value. This is very, very bullish. Now, on top of this, here we have Hidden Road recently acquired membership status of the DTCC FICC Government Securities Division. This is the largest sector of the government's fixed income market, $7 trillion daily volume. This is a big deal. This happened on March 14th, 2025, the date of this actual notice was March 11th, but it was effective on March 14th. And we have Hidden Road Partners CIV US LLC on the bottom. And we have this is based around the GSD through the DTCC FICC. And then also over here, we have October 16th of 2024 Government Securities Division. This is the GSD where they do break this down. And then over here, we also have numbers behind this. The Fixed Income Clearing Corporation's FICC Government Securities Division GSD cleared a record-setting $9.2 trillion in daily activity on September 3rd of 2024. This surpasses the previous record of $8.8 trillion set on July 31st, 2024, representing a 4.5% increase. The overall activity in the GSD has also increased by 42% year over year. This is wild. And then also over here, we do see some of the other numbers to kind of go off of. The FICC's volumes were approximately 7.2 trillion daily. This is very close to like the FX market that settles $7.5 trillion per day as well. Now they are clearing over 9 trillion as a daily average and has experienced multiple daily peaks above $10 trillion, including at the end of February when volumes topped at $10.4 trillion. This is huge. And again, this is institutional liquidity, institutional trading, institutional volume at scale, ignited by one acquisition. And this is why I've stated many times over that this acquisition is so massive. The actual, facts behind this are really hidden, right? It's a hidden road. But this is that hidden road to absolute massive amounts of institutional liquidity, institutional volume and value flooding on chain through the XRP ledger. We know the XRP ledger and XRP are the key here because Brad Garlinghouse told us this, David Schwartz told us this, even Monica Long told us this. So again, this is so much bigger than what a lot of people are really kind of, noticing. So I want you guys to understand just how big this is. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely will like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely will like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.